Bella Vista Community Television presents Senior Happenings. Today our host is Tricia Ayers. We will be talking about mental and physical health. And now to the studio for the program.
Hello everybody and welcome to Senior Happenings, and my name is Tricia Ayers and I am very excited about this show. I know I seem to be excited about all my shows, but I really am. This show is going to focus on the fact that there are other things that we need to do for our health. Very important for seniors and everybody to go to their doctor's appointments, take their prescribed medication and their vitamins and get their vaccinations, all of that stuff. But then there's another layer of healthcare that we need to focus on. And sometimes as we start to get a little older, we don't focus on those things. And hopefully this will inspire some people to do that. And so we're going to get on with our show. I'm very excited. We have Cyndie Lyon, who is a licensed clinical social worker, as well as many other letters after her name, and Robert Williams, who is a personal trainer. So we're going to go to Cyndie first. And Cyndie, can you explain all the other letters that are after your name?
Oh my.
Yes.
No, she left that to me. Wow.
Yes, absolutely.
So I am a licensed certified social worker, as she said. That basically means that I worked for 2 years under supervision of someone else and then eventually received my license. And so I've had that license since 1991 that I received my master's degree, and then in 1993 became licensed certified social worker. And then I also later on became a certified case manager. And that means that I have a lot of knowledge about a lot of things, just insurance and how to manage the health system and just a lot of information. And then I'm also a certified dementia practitioner. So basically just saying I've worked with persons who have dementia for a long time, and I have a lot of knowledge about that and knowledge in how to help families go through that, and also the person who has a new diagnosis of dementia, just helping them understand what that might be and what a new normal will be for them.
And you have your own private practice.
I do.
Which is called Rogers Counseling Service.
That's correct.
Excellent. Yes. Thank you for being with us, Cyndie. And Robert, you have letters after your name also.
I do. Certified personal trainer.
And how long have you been a certified personal trainer?
Oh gosh, I've lost count. I've been in the fitness realm on and off for the last 40 years. It's 2001, 40 years. So.
And you had your own business in Colorado,
yes,
you were saying?
co-owner of Anytime Fitness out of Loveland, Colorado. So.
And how long have you been here in beautiful Bella Vista?
6 years now, and started training here 5 years ago in all 3 of the rec centers here.
Oh,
so,
wonderful. Yeah. So you're there locally for our Reardon and Branchwood and
Metfield.
Metfield, thank you. You can see I'm an avid user of all the facilities. So what we want to talk about is the important things that our seniors, and I'm in my 50s, and I think this is a very pertinent conversation for me also. I know you young people are not quite there in your 50s, but we need to take care of our mental health and our physical health. So Cyndie, what are some of the things that maybe somebody at home is watching this show, especially coming out of COVID? Mm-hmm. We've been isolating a lot. What are some of the signs that we should look for that maybe we need to do things differently, or we need to seek professional help?
Okay, so that's a very good point. Coming out of COVID, I mean, it was difficult having a dementia diagnosis or being in the middle of that, even before COVID, okay? COVID has made that so much worse because we have done the isolation. So a lot of times, and I don't know that I'm speaking just to persons with dementia, but a lot of times if someone has dementia, one of the first signs of that is isolating, pulling back from the things that they don't feel comfortable with, okay? So just for seniors in general, isolating is not a good thing on a regular basis. Now, someone who is an introvert, they have loved COVID. For the introverts, they have loved COVID. They haven't had a problem with that at all because, oh, my counselor tells me that I need to get out and do things, but now I'm being told I can't stay home. I have an excuse for that. So they're not having a problem with COVID, but they are having a problem in that it's making things worse. I mean, the whole reason that someone was telling them get out and socialize, COVID is making that worse. It makes the dementia worse. It can make the anxiety worse, because now they just really are afraid to get out, more so than they had been even before the pandemic.
Right.
So I'm glad that you brought pandemic up, because that has made it so much worse.
I think for everybody,
Yes.
it really has.
It has. My practice has just grown exponentially. Well, from a business standpoint, that's good for me, but it's not good for me as a person and as a mental health practitioner, to know that there is so much anxiety out there, and people are having a hard time getting out of that mode and coming back into society, back into life.
Right. And Robert, as far as physical health, I know during COVID you still had some clients going into people's homes under the right situation.
Yes.
But have you seen, as we're coming out of this, that people wanting to start to get healthy, or are they just backing off completely?
No, they've reached a stage when you're inactive for just so long, you get to a point where you can't get in and out of your car. And so that's alarming. And I've had those phone calls where, I need to do something now, and I need to do it soon. My health has gotten to a point where I can't function normally. I can't pick up the groceries. I can't get out of my car without stumbling. And so with being quarantined, what else are you going to do? If you're stuck in the home, there's plenty of TV. And I think that's part of the equation here, is we've got so much that we don't have to do to begin with. Well, then when you're quarantined, well, what else is there to do but to watch TV, occasionally get up, cook a meal, but we really don't have to do that. We have microwaves, we have prepared meals. In fact, we can have them delivered to our front door if we like. So we do even less. And it's amazing how quickly the body responds to that. It responds to stimulus, but it responds to the alternative, which is no stimulus. It sheds everything, and pretty soon we can't get up out of the couch. And I've had that, and that's scary, when someone calls.
I think when that happens, you either want to do something about it, or if you've got no motivation or nobody motivating, you kind of just go, well, that's just the way it is. That's, I'm stuck with that.
And I share this with clients, is that you have to have a reason other than someone told you so. You have to have a goal. And that goal, it may be just to be able to take a walk. That goal may be to be able to get into the car to visit friends, socialize, or get to the grocery store. But if you don't have to, if you've backed yourself in a corner, which I have a few, there's no motivator, because there's enough movies, there's enough Netflix out there. You can watch TV all night and all day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Cyndie, this is always a question about therapy, and especially when you're dealing with seniors. There's a huge stigma about reaching out, about needing help. We're great about, we break a bone, we go get that fixed. But when we're dealing with mental health, it's really still a stigma. I think with younger generations, it's getting much better. They're realizing that is part of their health care. How do you reach out? How do you approach somebody who they need your help, but
well, sometimes it's difficult. I think with the pandemic, like when you get to a certain point, you sort of get to a boiling point. Okay, so when you get to that boiling point where I have to do something, then sometimes people who thought it was a stigma before will come on in, because it's like, I don't have a choice here, I have to do it. Sometimes you've got a family member who says, you have to get help because I'm not going to stay in this situation like it is. And so with the pandemic, it has been interesting to see how it has drawn together some family members, and others it has just blown it apart because they're not getting a release from each other. Maybe everybody's working from home and they couldn't get out or do the things that they would normally do.
right.
So, and the stigma seems, you're exactly right about the young people, that stigma with the young people in therapy seems to be going away. It's much more accepted now with the younger generation. It's still a little tough with the older generation, and especially with the men in the older generation. Although I must say that even seems to be changing with the pandemic, just because there's so much need for it,
Right.
just so much need for it, or so many, you know, like I said, family members saying something has to give, something has to change
Right.
here.
That's good
So,
to hear.
so it is getting better, but as far as just trying to motivate them, it's just, I think just talking about what is the most important to you. Is your goal to have your family healthy? Then if that's the case, what's going to get you to that? What are the objectives that are going to get you to that goal?
Right.
And someone asked me, you know, recently, well, what do I do about this situation? Well, you keep doing what you're doing. You stay in therapy. You get out of your house. You respond correctly. I do a lot of talking about just not what you're saying, but how to say it. Types of communication. Be assertive, not aggressive.
That's very important. You know, I get a lot of, not a lot, but more than usual, calls from potential clients that are calling for their spouse. And they're alarmed because the spouse has sat on the couch for the last year, but now their spouse no longer recognizes them in the morning or forgets that the stove is on and burning down half the kitchen. So they're concerned that because of the lack of movement or activity, that their mental state is beginning to decline.
Right.
And from a training standpoint, there's not much I can do there, or not much that I'm educated to do. It's good to know that folks like yourself are there for that. I mean, fitness only goes so far physically, but we need to take care of our mental fitness as well.
We do, and that's what I talk to people about. Just as you need to exercise your body, you need to exercise
By all
your
means.
brain, and there are ways to do that.
Right.
So that's very important. I will say though that when you get them out exercising their body, that does exercise their brain too. Though it just works together so much, because that gets someone thinking, I can do this.
It's empowering.
Yes, it is empowering.
I think if there is a spouse or a caregiver at home, they just right now, especially, we've just got to make that extra effort to get people moving and socializing even a little bit.
Yes.
I know that for work, I am an extrovert. Personally, I'm an introvert. So when I'm at home, and I'm quite happy being at home. And through this, I know that I have to go, I got to get out. I got to get out and do some things. It takes that little bit of extra effort. And if you're not supported in that, or everybody's quite happy and comfy in that, not going and even taking a walk, you know, or taking care of socializing, it's really easy to sit in that, and we all need to do a little bit more there to encourage. Especially, you know, there are some of our neighbors in Bella Vista who are maybe single, who we're not checking on, who we know are at home, and we should definitely do that and help them move on a little bit. So we're going to take a short pause, take a break, and we will be right back. I am very interested talking to both Cyndie and Robert on this, and hopefully we can inspire some people.
We will be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Senior Happenings. Here is our host, Tricia.
Well, welcome back, and I am joined in the studio with Cyndie Lyon and Robert Williams, and we've been talking about physical and mental health, something we can all improve in our lives, I'm sure. So, Robert, what can people do right this minute after they've watched this program and they haven't been doing anything in quite a while? How do they start?
Well, I do start everyone with what my morning routine is, and that is what I call chair squats,
Okay.
chair leg lifts, and calf raises, standing calf raises.
Can you show us something?
I can attempt to demonstrate.
Okay.
If we have
We
the
would
wide enough
appreciate
angle.
that.
Okay.
Yes, we'll just make everybody in the studio nervous
Yeah.
at this point.
Now, chair squat is real simple.
Yes.
You know, we all, as we age, we tend to, instead of getting up like this, we get up like this. Well, you don't want to do that. Okay. So chair squat is just getting up and down the chair, arms in front of you, back and forth, just touching the bottom of the chair. That's all it is. Okay. That strengthens the quads.
Yes.
Leg lifts, we want to strengthen these flexors. That also helps with our shuffle. Okay, we want a good stride when we're walking. And leg lifts are just nothing more than lifting the legs, tapping our
Okay.
toes. Okay, and then calf raises, I need a wall to demonstrate, but standing straight at an angle, you're lifting yourself up on your toes.
Oh, okay.
And that's simple. And that's real important in Bella Vista, especially.
Yes.
Because we have undulating territory, and I recommend the trails, of course. An abundance of trails here, but you better have strong calves. I mean, you know, nothing worse than spraining an ankle over a rock.
Yes.
You know, so strong calves are a must.
And good shoes.
And good shoes, yes.
So I have a question. So what about if the person is past the point of being able, like you're talking about getting up out of the chair, what if they're already past that point of being able to stand up on their own strength? What can they do to build to that?
To build to
Being able to stand up like you did.
Okay, just
without-
assist yourself then, of course. You can use assist, but eventually
Okay.
you want to work toward doing
it without
hands.
Okay.
So, and you may
Okay.
only get 2 or 3 of those. I recommend 20. Okay, 20 of these in the morning.
Okay.
And I do them every morning myself. So now mine are a little more extreme. I do what they call stationary lunges, which are a little different. But
Yes.
it's along the same lines. And it's empowering. I mean, it's empowering when you can walk out on a trail or get on a bike or you know,
Yes.
just get in and out of your car.
Right.
That's- Yeah.
Maybe park a few parking spots back
There you go. Yeah.
and walking a little bit. I know I am.
I'm really bad about that.
Yes.
Yes,
Here.
I just am.
I'm like, how close can I get to the handicap spot so I can walk in? That's not
Yes.
good.
And
Not good.
another question is, like a lot of the seniors, you know, that we work with, we would say to them, lock your brakes on your chair before trying to stand up. Lock your walker before you stand up and try to use it so that you know you're on stable ground. Well, you were demonstrating that in a chair with wheels just
Yes.
now.
Right.
Would you recommend not doing the wheels? Like have a chair that's stable and not one that's on wheels
Definitely.
if you're doing that, the
Yes.
squats?
A stable chair is a must. And if you have a partner, rely on them as well. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because especially starting out, you don't know what your limitations are.
Right.
And so you want to ease into these things. And it's okay to use whatever leverage you need, but
Okay.
just start. Because what you see from me and what I explain to my clients is these are the end goals. These are what you're after in the end. This isn't where you start. And so don't get frustrated too early, you know. Yeah, I share that with all my clients because we have this incredible trail system here that really to be out in that is, and to be able to do that is something we could have been doing even during the pandemic.
Yes.
I mean, really, that's something that was available to, and still is available to everyone.
Yes.
So,
Yes, and
yeah.
actually have trails 200 yards up the road from where I live.
Oh, do you? Okay.
And I have been on them maybe 2 times.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very pitiful.
This
Get
is
out
this
there.
is confession time.
Yes, it
for us,
is.
isn't
It's like
it?
you were here today to inspire me. That's what it was. So, Cyndie, how take me? I'm an introvert. Don't take that I work for a living and I'm out there doing myself, but I'm an introvert and pandemic hit me hard. How do I start to socialize and get out there?
Okay. Well, for one thing, even if you're not socializing per se and leaving your home, there are things you can do to exercise your brain.
Okay.
So even I have noticed, even with the seniors who are not real tech-minded, I have a tablet. And when I'm working with someone, I get my tablet out. And I have a couple of games that people are like, well, I don't want to just sit and do games. Well, these games are brain games. They're games that exercise your brain. So one of those is called Flow Free.
Okay.
I didn't bring my tablet today to show that, but Flow Free is a really good one. Flow Free, you just match colors. You match red to red, blue to blue, green to green, but you cannot cross lines to get to them. So you have to figure out the pattern to get to them without going across a line.
Okay.
And people always want to do a diagonal. No, you have to go in straight lines to get this pattern and to get it done. And so as you go up to higher levels, then that gets harder to do, so you learn how to do it. And then another game that's within the in the Flow Free game, and a side of that is called bridges. So you can go under the bridge with one color and over the bridge with one color.
Interesting.
But again, you have to learn how to do that
Right.
with your, with your mind, and not cross the lines in the wrong place. Because what happens if I am going from red to red, and then I do that one, but I shouldn't have done that. It's not going to work. So how am I going to get from blue to blue? Because I would have to cross the red line. The game just shuts it off. It just ends it. I mean, right there, it won't let you do that. So
Right.
you learn that this is what I have to do. And then another one is coloring. Adult coloring books are absolutely wonderful, but not everybody wants to just sit and color either. And I say adult coloring books are wonderful. Sometimes you just need that child's coloring books, because the adult coloring books have a lot of detail. Not everybody's a detailed person.
Right.
That detail bothers me. I'm someone who would rather have a child's coloring book because it's got a bigger area to color, as opposed to these little bitty lines that are on an adult coloring book. But also electronically, I do one app that's called Happy Color. And it's a really good coloring app. And so it's like having that coloring book in front of you, except that it's electronic. And so you touch on a number below, and that number, it grays up at the top on the picture, and then you touch it and it becomes that color. So someone else has already chosen the colors for you. You don't even have to think about the colors. But you do have to focus and look at where that color goes.
That's
So it's like
great.
kind of like a paint by number
Right.
situation.
Right.
There are a number of those, but they are very good exercises. So that's one way to get people started with the motivation.
Yes.
And then as far as getting out, just exactly what you had said, that just even taking a short walk around the block where you are. I mean, a lot of the Bella Vista streets have hills and that sort of thing, but also a lot of them are cul-de-sac that you can easily walk around.
yeah.
So just getting out and taking a short walk is a good way to get started. At one point, I heard an inspirational speaker who said the best part, or the hardest part, is just showing up. And you kind of said those words a little bit ago.
Yeah.
It's just showing up. You just have to show up to get started.
Right.
You don't have to think, okay, we have all these trail systems and it goes from Bella Vista to Fayetteville. I'll never be able to do that. I'll never be able to go from Bella Vista to Fayetteville.
Right.
No one said you had to.
No.
No one said you have to go that far.
Right.
So sometimes we just look too much at the big picture, and we need to break it down into this little piece of what we're doing instead of thinking about the whole picture, which overwhelms us.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's those so turn off the TV right now and go do something. No.
That's right.
Stay with us for just a few minutes. We'd appreciate that while we're making you inspirational here. I love it. So Robert, we've done those small exercises. We have felt, I mean, you feel the benefit from just going
Yes.
Sure do.
for a walk. You really do. So then you continue on, and then it gets to the point where you're like, okay, I think I would like to hire a personal trainer. What would that person's expectations be at that point? I know everybody's so different. Do you talk to them? What do you do?
Yeah, well, everyone has, or every trainer has their own approach. Mine is, well, and it comes from having owned a gym for a while and seeing some of the areas we could have improved on, and that starts with the interview. I'll spend with a client a good 15 minutes over the phone, getting to know them and them getting to know me, finding out what they need, finding out if it's something I can really do for them. Maybe they're starting from a point they need a physical therapist rather than a trainer.
Yeah.
So after that, we set up and arrange a meeting, and that is usually the first session. We fill out, of course, paperwork prior to that. And in that first session, I go through a lot of things. And like I said before, I share the home exercises first. That's first and foremost. You've got to do these every day. Then we go through all the equipment and all the various exercises, which may seem redundant in some cases, but what they don't realize is I'm assessing. The whole time they're working on the equipment, they're learning how to use it properly, but I'm also assessing. I'm finding weak areas, imbalance areas, areas that they're struggling with, and then I'm looking for feedback from them. This hurts. Okay, well, okay, you're either doing it wrong or there's an injury.
Right.
Sometimes just your physical makeup doesn't allow you to do this particular exercise. So we've got to tailor. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And from there, we set up a program, and you're off and running.
Off and running.
Yeah.
To health.
And it's empowering, like I say. I've had clients come back to me and say, you just can't believe how good it feels to know that I could not dream of doing this 2 years ago, but I can actually get in a kayak. And if I want, I can ride a bike. And that was just so far out there. But we started small, and we got there. So.
And we were talking before the show started. I asked you the age range of your clients, if you don't mind.
87, and one that's about to start is 91.
So we have no excuse whatsoever.
No excuse.
No excuse.
None whatsoever.
Oh my goodness. So, Cyndie, if we need some mental health, I'll be contacting you afterwards, I think. How do we get hold of you? How do we contact you and your practice?
Well, so I am on Psychology Today. I'm in Psychology Today, and a lot of people will call me that direction. My phone number is was on the screen.
Okay.
Will be back on the screen.
Yes.
So 479-715-9800. And also, I am not real good at social media, so I don't have a web page yet that I can tell you about. I do have, I'm on the directory of most insurances. I'm in network with most major insurances. So a lot of times you can go to Medicare, medicare.gov. You can find me there through the section that talks about providers.
Yes.
And most insurances that you have, then I'm probably on those provider lists. I'm pretty well known in the community.
Yes, ma'am, you
so
are.
I think that mostly you could go to any human services or maybe even your doctor's office and get information about Rogers Counseling Services.
Do you need to go through your primary care physician? Or
most insurances, especially for seniors, but even young adults, do not require a referral for mental health.
That's great.
So some of them have a little bit of a different. If it's an HMO that you have, then you might need a referral. I don't take all HMOs, so I mean there are some insurances that I could not use. Even if someone does not have insurance, I usually find a way to see them if they need someone to see them.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
great.
Yes.
Great. And Robert, how do we find you?
Well, I have two means. One is a phone call, and that number is 307-214-2544. Now, the 307 is because I'm from Wyoming, Colorado area, and I've just kept that number. And the other one is my Facebook page.
Okay.
Fitness before, not after. I'm not going to tell you what that means. You have to get on site to find out why.
Before, not after. All right. And if can they also contact you through Reardon Hall and?
They can. They have my information there. They'll pass it on to them as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and my little posters up there at all three
track
fitness
everybody
centers.
down. So.
Yeah.
So basically, we're going to challenge you, everybody out there, to do maybe a little better job with your mental and physical health. That's your challenge, especially as we come into the holidays. Family members, you might notice that your loved one needs a little bit more help, maybe needs some physical help, maybe a walk and some other things would be a real benefit. Or you may notice that they need some mental health help, and that's absolutely fine, and we encourage that, especially if there is a dementia or Alzheimer's diagnosis. Don't leave it too late. If you're the caregiver, get some help. It's really beneficial. So through the holidays, that's your challenge. I'm going to take up that challenge and do better, and I know Cyndie and I are together on that with our physical health.
Yes.
And Robert is going to pass on some mental health to Cyndie. I think we've networked really well here, and we thank you for joining us today at Senior Happenings, and we will be back next month, and your challenge is on. Go do better. Thank you.
Remember, you can see this program on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at various times. You may also view this program on YouTube.com by going to Bella Vista TV. This has been a presentation of Bella Vista Community Television Association. Thank you for joining us.